When when it's time to begin, it's on the Rewind to Raw with Jon Pollock and Wai Ting. The A-Team that makes sense of these things we see in the ring every week on TV. It's Rewind to Raw for Monday night. Download it Tuesday morning from the Post Wrestling site. It's Rewind to Raw for Monday night on USA Now on the Jon and Wai Take the Mic.
Hello, everybody from Japan. I'm Jon Pollock, along with Wai Ting and the returning WH Park for a very special edition of Rewind to Raw, the season premiere and series finale of WH Park on this franchise show. Welcome, WH.
I'm really tired right now. That was exhausting to watch.
It is, what time is it? 1:30 in the afternoon?
Right here, it is 1:15 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, WH, you may be beaten down. Tuesday morning Raw is the greatest thing in the world. I loved watching Raw on a Tuesday morning as opposed to a Monday night.
Sure.
I could totally, I could move here and just wake up on a Tuesday morning, watch Raw, record with you, Wai, and I'm done for the day.
Yeah, we can still go
This
out.
is a great time slot.
Kind of is. Yeah.
This is the new prime time. Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m.
I can't even. It's terrible.
Well, we have lots to discuss. We're going to be going through both New Year Dash and Monday's episode of Raw to kick off 2020. But before we get into things, I want to just quickly go over the schedule this week. It's a packed one at postwrestling.com. For most of you that are listening to this, you will have early access, if you're a member of the Post Wrestling Café, to our Worst of 2019 show with myself and Wai, joined by Braden and Davey, going through all the different categories for the very worst that 2019 had to offer. And maybe a little later on in the show, we'll get a sneak peek of WH's Worst of 2020 as the year kicks off.
Yeah, it might be on this episode.
We will find out. Then later in the week, Braden and Davey are going to have Up Next on Wednesday night covering NXT, and then they're going to be back the following day on Thursday for a review of AEW Dynamite, this week from Memphis, featuring a tribute to the stars of Memphis Wrestling Past, which should be a interesting episode that they do. Then we have Friday, tentative plans that we'll have something here from Japan. WH and I are tentatively scheduled to be going to another wrestling show, and maybe we will have a review afterwards. I'm going to try and watch SmackDown on Friday. All of that is to be determined. Wai is ghosting us. He is done with us after tomorrow.
I'm done with you guys after this.
Wai is booked. Wai is booked solid for the next 2 weeks. We will not see this man.
Yep.
So enjoy his voice for the time being, and then he gets a well-deserved break. And then into the weekend. I'm really excited about a lot of these shows that we have coming up. Number one, the latest edition of Thunderstruck. And who is on this Sunday?
The greatest man from Ireland. Sorry, Neil, not you. It's Jamesy and I talking Jushin Thunder Liger versus the Great Sasuke from Best of the Super Juniors finals of 1994. Great match. He's done a great job just breaking down each move in its entirety from this match.
I'm looking forward to that. Tonight we might be talking about Rusev Day, but Sunday really is Jamesy Day at postwrestling.com, because you can whet your appetite with Thunderstruck, and then later on that day, it's going to be a collaborative review of the NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2. What a mouthful that title is for the TakeOver this Sunday. But they are going to be joined. It will be Jamesy and Benno, because Martin is still here in Tokyo. They're going to be joined by JP and Joe from the Grapple Spotlight podcast, and let me just say, based on my comments, there are people more excited for this podcast than the TakeOver special on Sunday. So that should be a fantastic review. That will be up sometime Sunday after the TakeOver UK show. And then there's a TNA or / Impact Wrestling pay-per-view on Sunday night, Hard to Kill. And one franchise that is hard to kill is Keep It 2000, and we have brought them back together. Nate Milton and Brian Mann are going to reconvene, and they're going to do a special review of Hard to Kill. So a lot of great stuff coming up at postwrestling.com. You can also join postwrestlingcafe.com. Our reviews of Wrestle Kingdom are up there, along with lots of great coverage, including some fantastic lens footage.
A ton, yes.
I've fallen in love with this lens
documenting
apparatus.
Everything on Lens. John's been documenting everything on Lens. He had to physically learn how to do this thing. And I'm so proud of you, John. Not only learning a little bit of Japanese, but learning Lens too, the toughest language of all, social media.
How did I do the other day with ordering of when we went to that bakery for the coffee? Hato coffee.
You did great. You got your coffee, didn't you?
I did. I made the mistake today, and I went and I said hot, and he just looked at me confused, and then goes, "Hotto." I was like, "Yeah."
I had that same thing. Like, I was at the Tokyo Dome about to order my coffee, and I said kohi, and then he's like, "Oh, kohi, yeah, cool, coffee." So he brings me like 2 cups of, like, a cup of ice, because I guess he like is the default coffee iced coffee.
Just say coffee.
I said coffee.
I've said that multiple times, and each time it's been to clarify.
You have to
hot.
specify that it's hot.
Yes.
If I go there,
Hotto.
like so you say hot after. Coffee hotto. Hitotsu means 1.
1.
So just if you don't
How
just
many?
want
What do you
one,
think I want? I want 10. Give me 10 coffees.
You're white. He's confused. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just hitotsu means
That should be a
1.
T-shirt I get just to walk around. I'm white. I'm confused.
No, they're confused because
Oh,
you're
they're
white.
confused.
Yeah, because anyways, I don't want to get like tweeted about this shit. Anyways,
Okay. It's okay. WH is learning what the world has to say about everything. But that is it's been a fun experience. I'm navigating the language. I think decently well. I'd give myself like a C+.
I think you've been doing great.
It's been fun.
Yeah, you've been walking around in the mornings by yourself.
I went for like a 45-minute walk today before Raw. I needed to get some exercise in before sitting down in my hotel room.
What did you see? Forget Raw.
I went to Sumo Hall.
Yeah.
Got to see that. I feel there's some kind of sumo event going on today. There was like security out there, and one guy just like giving me like a dead stare. Like, don't even. I was like intimidated to take my camera out. Wow. Yeah, he was just staring at me, and so I walked another block before I took a photo.
Well, because you're taking pictures?
I don't know. He just looked at me, and then the head was like following as I walked past. Like this guy thought I was like going to storm the grounds or something like that. I was like, "Don't."
like the pasture.
I am absolutely harmless. Trust me, sir. But yeah, then I just wandered, so I found my way back. So it was very good. And then I got some hotto coffee at 7-Eleven.
Sorry. Let's continue.
Man, makes me feel so inferior here. That he's just mocking my ability.
I'm not doing that. I'm doing my best Brandon from New Jersey impression. Sorry, go ahead.
That is a pretty good Brandon, actually, that laugh. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let us dive into things. We're going to start with a New Year Dash and go in chronological order.
So if you're here for Raw, just look at the show description and you can zoom right over.
Yes. So Ota Ward Gymnasium was the location for this year's New Year Dash, an upgrade from many years at Korakuen Hall, and they moved up and drew 4,078 people. So we're looking at just over 74,000 tickets sold in 3 nights by New Japan. This has to be viewed as a big success. I think you didn't fill the dome on the second night, but I think as a 3-day experiment, 74,000 tickets, I think that has to be viewed as a win.
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, the thing about the second day drawing 10,000 less, like, people are going back to work on Monday, so what are you going to do? Like,
it's a lot. Like 30,000 is an incredible number. It's only because people are making a comparison.
I think cumulatively, like they made a lot of money, so they can't be they have to be happy with that number.
No announcements on Dash about next year's Wrestle Kingdom, and I was expecting like some more announcements, like maybe they were going to spread them out over the 2 days. Now we're also recording this just right before they're going to be doing a press conference, going through all the new beginning matchups and that tour, which we'll have up on the website later, but. Yeah, no announcement as of this moment about next year's dome strategy. And I wonder if it's locked in and they know what they're doing, or if they're just holding off on an announcement for what's going to happen next year. But I was expecting that at Dash after we didn't get it the night prior.
I think we're probably going to see it during the new beginning shows, that they're going to announce these plans for the summer and next winter.
Could you see an option that we talked about, the idea that it just landed on Saturday, Sunday this year, that if you wanted to do the dome back-to-back next year, you go back a day. You do the 3rd and the 4th instead of the 4th and the 5th to augment that.
So the 4th is on what day next year?
The 4th.
The 4th is probably...
We're talking a
Monday
leap year here, so it could throw things off. So January of 2021, we're talking about... Oh, you know what? The 4th is a Monday, right? Because we flip ahead.
So I don't really see it.
No.
You know, I think Sunday, like you said, WH was one of the big issues of perhaps the second day today.
Now, the 4th would be a holiday, would it not?
It would still fall under the period where people can still be on their holidays away from work, but probably it depends on company to company, but most people would probably go back to work on the 6th or something.
So you could do the 3rd and the 4th.
It's possible, but like because it was a Saturday and Sunday, it's guaranteed people are going to be off of work for sure, and families could come and things like that. It's not guaranteed that most companies will allow those to be guaranteed holidays. We'll see. I'm thinking there's a 50-50 chance they're going to announce 2 dome shows maybe next year. I wouldn't do it, like, just from my own experience. I would hope they just condense like these 2 shows into one. I think that would have been a much better experience, in my opinion.
Now, if you're coordinating all of this around holidays, like, other than it's so ingrained as the tradition, why would you run January 4th on the Monday as opposed to January 2nd, for instance?
It's just they're just obstinate about like this date, the January 4th. It's like,
do you think it's a bigger draw to have it on the 4th than, say, the 2nd? Is that date so locked in? Because you would think, in theory, why be tied to that if it's going to hurt us at all at the box office?
Well, they did announce that they're shifting the G1 Climax because of the Olympics to October. So maybe they're going to be like, okay, we're not married to the 4th as a date. We can make it January 1st and 2nd, or the 2nd
and 3rd would be the Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I can see totally they announcing that people go, oh, in the audience.
I feel there'd be outrage if they go away from the sacred date of January. Like, it's just so ingrained. I wouldn't expect them to move it from that, but if the whole point is to, what is the best night to run, a Monday night, if that's going to hurt you by 5,000 tickets, I don't know if I'm necessarily so tied to a specific number as where I'm going to run that dome show.
It could be that they're really more in love with doing 2 shows, like back to back. So we'll see.
What's your final prediction, Wai? How many dome shows next year?
I think we get 1. I do wonder if perhaps, they not just look at maybe the business of it, but also perhaps the quality of the individual shows and ask whether or not it's, for their brand, it's better to, have 2 separate shows that I think, let's be honest, it would have been a way stronger condensed show as a singular show, especially that second night. And I think we would possibly be talking as maybe one of the greatest Wrestle Kingdoms of all time if I think they condense some of those matches into one show, rather than having, I would say, a lot of filler and maybe a dead crowd on the second night. So I wonder if they would judge it by any of those other factors as well. But I definitely think like Dash could be.
Dash, I think, should be at Sumo Hall. I 100% think it should be at Sumo Hall. As long as you have this level of international tourists coming for the show, I don't think Sumo Hall is an ambitious building to run at all. So the show began with the Jushin Thunder Liger retirement ceremony, and this was extremely well done. Liger, they air this comprehensive retrospective on his entire career. Then he is brought out, followed by the New Japan locker room led by Hiroshi Tanahashi as they present flowers to him, and they take a big group shot together. And then the Chaos faction is brought out, led by Kazuchika Okada, and they do the same, including Okada taking a selfie with the whole group with Liger. And you and I were summarizing, like, are they going to be going through different factions here? Because they could have ended it with Suzuki Gun and Minoru Suzuki shaking his hand, which would go very much against kind of the Suzuki character, but kind of ties that all together. It was just the New Japan native talent and Chaos, followed by
the babyfaces.
The babyfaces, yeah. His wife and son were also brought out as well. Naoki Tsukabayashi, the chairman of New Japan. And then we got a surprise video announcement or video message from Antonio Inoki that everyone reacted to.
Yeah, I was very surprised because he doesn't really have a positive relationship with the company itself, but I guess he respects Jushin Liger a lot, as well he should, of course.
Then Liger gave a speech, and they followed the whole show by having the referees wear the Liger retirement shirt throughout. So this was like the really big thing on the show that this New Year Dash card will be remembered for.
Yeah, in terms of emotion, I thought it was really strong. And I think what really got to me was like seeing big grown men cry.
Tanahashi was weeping.
Tenzan had tears. Nakanishi, just to see like these big, strong dudes get emotional always gets to me. And I think the moment for me was that was like the emotional climax was like when his wife and kid showed up and they hugged him, and it was like, for me, it was almost like, oh, man, like now this guy, after 32 years, finally gets to retire and enjoy his family life. That's just the narrative in my head, right? It's like seeing the hero walk into the sunset and after a lifetime of service, now finally getting to enjoy the home life. It's just the idea that this superhero actually has a family back home. Just to kind of visually see that, like, was really cool.
They also did this 10-bell salute for Liger's famous opponents that have deceased, and this included Black Tiger, Brian Pillman, Hayabusa was showing, and Wild Pegasus was showing. And
In the mask.
In the mask, yes. I found it uncomfortable seeing Benoit featured in there, and it's been interesting to be over here where it very much seems that final weekend is not part of Benoit's legacy at all. It is the work, the in-ring, and his legacy that is very much, I won't go so far as to say celebrated, but enough to the point that he would not have been omitted from something like this, acknowledging his most famous opponents that have died.
Yeah, I mean, he's very important to Liger's history, his early career, and I think for Liger, I think when the whole incident happened, he passed away.
What was the coverage like here at that time?
From my understanding,
because you were not here at that point.
I was not here at the point, but I was like searching around and I asked around, and it was covered a little, but like they were not shy about like just saying, well, he's a great wrestler, he's part of our legacy in terms of like the amazing matches he's had in Japan. And for Liger personally, I really get the feeling like everything I was told by people who knew Benoit was like him and Liger were really tight when they worked together. So like I can see Liger saying, I want his picture up there because he's important to me. It's like like how Chavo Guerrero and Chris Jericho really don't like they want to celebrate the person that they remembered, not the person that he became.
I think it's interesting to look at the colleagues of Benoit and how they really struggle with this way of how they remember him. I look at Chris Jericho. I think he very much struggles with it, where he has done a lot of coverage of just speaking to Nancy Benoit's sister and looking at everything, and I think comes at it from a pretty objective point of view when this was a very close friend of his, and I think it's very difficult to just completely separate the career from that final weekend. But it's I'm just going to say, I'm just speaking for myself personally, it was uncomfortable just that there's a 10-bell salute and his image is up there. But this overall, I mean, this very much had the feeling of that Ric Flair send-off in 2008, just everybody out there, and a really emotional ceremony for Jushin Thunder Liger. And I think that this is going to be one of the most remembered things of this weekend.
It ended with a sing-along to his theme song, which was fucking awesome.
And throwing him up in the air. They all grabbed him and lifted him, and I mean, he looked to be like dead weight as they were just tossing him up there, and it was like, oh my God, he's going to take one final bump here. So it was a really great, and this was the first half hour of the show. You could have ended the show with this, I feel, but I was like, man, you're really setting the mood at a certain level and then going into the wrestling show. It was like this was almost separate. This was not even attached to the show, but it was very effective, and I think hit a lot of people. So let's just quickly go through some of the matches. They then revealed all of the this is not a card that they announce ahead of time. I guess a lot of the wrestlers are trying to find out during the day, like, have you heard anything? And then they arrive at the building and then they're told what they're doing. So the opener was Carl Fredericks, Clark Connors, and Alex Coughlin versus Toa Henare, Yota Tsuji, and the sprinter, Yuya Uemura.
Yeah, this is great. I love this match. I think it set a nice pace and tone for the rest of the show. These guys are all so good, and I have like so much faith in the history, in the future of this company going forward in the next 5 years.
These six, like any of these combinations, it's like the best opener in pro wrestling. It went 10:41, a lot of fire from all six. In particular, I'm very impressed with Alex Coughlin. It seemed like the featured performer was Carl Fredericks, who at the end hits this massive drop kick onto, it was Uemura, and did a kip up into the half crab and just wrenched back and got the submission with the half crab.
You can tell, like, they probably told him, like, be more charismatic, showboat a bit more, because that's what he was doing.
Yeah, he was playing in the crowd at times.
It's great. I'm like, they have so much faith. You can tell he's like the next Jay White in their eyes.
Yeah. You really appreciate how hard these guys hit when you're watching these guys live. Just incredible sounding chops in this particular match from Alex Coughlin. He absolutely stood out to me as well. And I thought some really great selling from Uemura as well while he was in that crazy half crab from Frederick. So it was fun. And they're also setting up a Tsuji versus Coughlin post-match.
That's right. They had this really big brawl at the beginning of the match, and then they bookended it with them fighting at the end as well. So it will be interesting to watch the path of all 6 of these guys this year and where they go. 4-way match saw Roppongi 3K, Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi, El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori, and the team of El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Hiromu and Bushi came out wearing masks in honor of Jushin Thunder Liger, and that was a big backdrop on the entire show. And this saw Desperado end up getting the cover on Sho after Bushi hit him with the mist, and with Sho Tanaka blinded, that's when Desperado was able to get the cover at 13:30, and the significance there that Sho and Yo just won the junior heavyweight tag titles, and it looks like Desperado Kanemaru, one of our many directions set up at New Year Dash.
Yeah, it was a fun match, and you set up the tag title match, the junior tag title match, and I enjoyed it. It didn't overstay its welcome, and a lot of action throughout the whole thing.
I was particularly impressed with El Phantasmo live. He's not just great in ring, but I think he adds so much charisma and just great heel shtick with the crowd. I was sitting right next to the ramp here, and he comes out, he sees this girl's Ibushi towel, and he just grabs it, wipes his ass with it, throws it into another section of the crowd. The security grabbed the towel back for the girl. And on the way back after the match, he grabs the towel again, throws it into another section of the crowd. I think he's a great heel, and he's a lot of fun to watch live.
Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, and Finn and Juice took on the Gorillas of Destiny, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. All 8 brawled around ringside until they settled in and got the heat on Tanahashi, tried to lift up Fale, unsuccessful. Then Finlay came in, fired up, followed by Kota coming in. Jado got involved with the kendo stick, and then it was Ibushi avoiding the package pile driver. Tanahashi assisted with the sling blade, setting up the Kamigoye finish with Ibushi pinning Owens at 11 minutes and 39 seconds. And after the match, after all the criticism of the New Japan Tag Division, I thought the show as a whole, you could see the formation of different little units for this tag division, the biggest one being an alliance between Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi as they signaled to their partners, Dave Finlay and Juice Robinson, that they're going to go for the tag titles. And I love this pairing. You actually suggested this midway through the match. My response was doubtful. And look at me. I stood corrected, but I love this direction. Keeps Kota Ibushi busy outside, and that's outside of the main event picture, and I think it's a really compelling match. And it gives Juice and Finlay something of note to feud with these two.
It freshens up the whole tag division, and yeah, I mean, we were talking during Wrestle Kingdom, what are you going to do with Ibushi? You can't just slot him into a title match anytime soon. I love that it keeps Tanahashi busy as well, and I think this is a natural pairing because Tanahashi is one of Ibushi's heroes. It fits mentor-student kind of idea, and we'll talk about a tag match later. But if you have these other pairings that we saw later on in the evening, my God, and just keep these guys tagging regularly, it would be awesome. I would be so excited about New Japan's tag division as I am about All Japan's and Pro Wrestling Noah's and Stardom's tag divisions. And it's something I always cross my fingers, please, fulfill the promise that you show on some of these shows with these pairings. But I do have to make one note, I don't know what it is. Psychologically, I think once I see Bad Luck Fale, I'm I have to use the toilet. So I recused myself and ran to the toilet and came back. And I asked you, John, did I miss anything? You were like, no.
I like the Bullet Club live. Much like El Phantasmo in the earlier match. I think anytime these guys come out with their type of personality in a live setting, they really, to me, wake up the crowd.
I think the Gorillas have one of the better themes in wrestling. I love their theme. It really fits them. That kind of DMX knockoff.
Yeah, usually, I mean, when you're watching on World, anytime they do the traditional just brawl into the crowd type of thing, it seems so tiring. But live
it really works.
Especially when you're sitting in the section, it's wow, the match is coming over to me, and it gets super exciting.
I was hoping Tama Tonga was going to make his way to WH.
He looked at me. To that, yeah. He looked at me during his entrance.
Oh, I wish you had my seat
right here.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, so I thought they were fun. The crowd was very engaged. Who do you think, if Tanahashi and Ibushi challenge for the belts, who do you book to win?
That's a good question.
Finlay and Juice just got the belts.
Yeah, but I think there's more value if you put it on Tanahashi.
You make those main event belts if you put them on Tanahashi and Ibushi, but conversely, you could continue the story that Kota is coming off the most devastating losses of his career at Wrestle Kingdom, and he still slips here somehow.
Would it not have made more sense to keep the belts on God then?
You could have done that too. I think the idea here is that with Finlay and Juice, I think they see them as more of they're on the ascent at the moment. Gorillas are kind of in their place. That they're hoping that Finlay and Juice get something out of this too, working with Tanahashi and Ibushi. So I think it's an interesting outcome. You can debate if it's you keep the titles on Finn and Juice or you put it onto Tanahashi and Ibushi, which I think would greatly help that tag division. You can headline shows with your IWGP tag title, something you can't do at the moment.
And you don't have the IC belt right now, so.
That's right. You have a one less belt in circulation. But one thing this company is not in any shortage of is titles. Then this, to me, was the most intriguing match when they made the announcements at the beginning of the show. Evil and Shingo Takagi against Tomohiro Ishii and new never openweight champion Hiroki Goto. This did not disappoint. It was the match of the night. These guys watched that main event on the Noah show we went to and just felt like everyone was out here to steal the show. Just some amazing chops and back and forth, in particular with Ishii and Evil. But then Shingo Takagi was, to me, one of the standout performers on this entire show. He just had so much presence about him live. And the way that he was presented in this match and at the post-match, like he felt like one of the leaders at the end of this. Like he felt like the lieutenant right behind Naito that they're putting a lot of shine onto. And here saw this awesome exchange between Shingo and Goto. We also saw this double team maneuver with Ishii holding up, I think it was Evil, as they hit this assisted GTR and really teasing like Ishii and Goto could be another little tag team that they use for a bit of a run as well. So
it was like a half Magic Killer, half GTR.
Right. Yeah. Where you had the legs up. Shingo ends up avoiding the GTR at the end and wins with the Last of the Dragon. It went 16 minutes and 28 seconds, really pushing that it'll be Shingo going for Goto's never openweight title. But I think you also have two potential tag teams if you really want to beef up this tag division. And that's the beauty of you can have these guys do their singles runs, but also have a great tag division. And this was a perfect example of it. Takagi cut this big promo after. I don't know one word of what he said, but it was awesome. This crowd loved it. And just his facial expressions felt like he, the classic example of like the year ran up, he was the odd man out, and now the new year, we're going to see a spotlight on him.
It really felt like this particular match was like, three of the guys who didn't really have prominent roles at Wrestle Kingdom trying to make up for, I guess the lack of feature. And they just really went all out and wrestled as if they were inside a Tokyo Dome. I thought this match was amazing. Shingo and Evil are fantastic together. I really like them as a strong-styled tag team within LIJ. It had me really excited for Shingo versus Goto. I think these two will have fantastic chemistry. And, I now understand why they put the belt back onto Goto. It's almost just like, resetting so that you can give it to somebody else. And Shingo definitely looks like he's the next guy for that division.
Yeah, I love this match of the night for me. Easily. One of the top 5 matches that I've seen all weekend, and I was like thinking, man, if they Goto and Ishii, if they kept them as a tag team throughout the year, or if they do this in 2020, Ibushi, Tanahashi, Evil, and Shingo, I don't want to see Evil and Sonata again. As much as I like their tag team,
they need to freshen it up.
It's stale.
They need to freshen it up.
But you could even like slot in like established teams like God and whoever else, and then mix them together, and just put some booking behind it. Like consistency. That's all I ask. I just love Shingo Takagi. He's been one of the best promos in Japan for the last 10 years, and you'll find that a lot of guys who came through Dragon Gate, it's very heavy on promos in that company because they have to do like mic performances, like all the roster members, and he really developed so well in that role as a heel and as a babyface, as a leader of his own faction, and he's bringing it to New Japan. I think he's really like a step above 60% of the roster as far as like cutting a promo in Japanese.
And when you grade a promo, I suppose in a Japanese language, does it feel any different from, let's say, a WWE English promo?
Yeah, he's more into like doing a performance, right? And I feel like a lot of the Dragon Gate guys are like that. One thing I'm not super fluent in Japanese, as like some people might be surprised, but I'm not. But I can get the gist of what he is saying. But it's really the emotion he puts behind it. Like he knows how to change his cadence, his tone, his intonation, things like that. He's really, really good at it. So I got the gist of what he's saying based on the few words, like, oh, okay, I understand what that meant. But it's like the emotion you put it behind it. Okay, he wants that never title. He wants to fight Goto for it.
Cool.
I think that's a big part of it is just the conviction and emotion and how the audience reacts to. And I think we'll talk a little bit about in WWE that they're letting Asuka go out now and just speak Japanese. And it's all on her to pretty much convey to a non-Japanese speaking audience. But she feels so much less handcuffed now just speaking her native language.
I feel like, though, with Asuka, they just, like, send her out there to ramble, you know, just to sound almost incoherent, you know, rather than like a Shingo Takagi.
Like, they want her to sound, like, wild and out of control. I think that's the way they're going. But I think it works for her as opposed to what they had been doing, which was, you know, she had just become another woman on the roster. And this, at least, I think is... I don't know what she is saying, but I can at least see the emotion behind it. And
I don't think you're supposed to know. Like, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's really
no. That's what
Asuka.
Yeah,
right.
So, second from the top was an 8-man tag with Chaos taking on Suzuki Gun, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Robbie Eagles, and Yoshihashi against Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr., Lance Archer, and Taichi. And we got numerous pairings here. Prominent was Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay as they began the match. Okada's neck also taped up here. Will and Zack brawl right into our section, and most people's line of the night was Zack just screaming, "Ospreay's a Tory!" And Ospreay responding hours later, "But I voted Labor."
I doubt that that's true.
Well, this is the basis of a feud for the British heavyweight title. Ideologies at stake for the British heavyweight title.
It's Remain versus Leave in Rev Pro or in New Japan. It's funny that the British heavyweight title is defended more in Japan than it is on British soil. But I guess that's a metaphor for current political climate of England.
Well, I mean, both of these two have left.
More or less. I think Zack still lives there. Ospreay lives here.
Zack's moved to the U.S., I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go.
At least at last check, I believed he had. So I'm not up on where exactly his living is. But yeah, Ospreay has left. So anyway, they will get sent into the barricade. Suzuki ties up Eagles into a submission, moves to the knee bar. Then we broke off, and one of our new pairings is Okada and Taichi in a match that, if this does not culminate in the two starting a match both with their pants on and having them torn off, that is a missed opportunity. Okada drop-kicked Archer, and then we got the first usage of the Taichi Iron Fingers, which were passed down by the retiring Takeshi Iizuka last year. Nails Okada.
Second. He used it in the G1.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. He did use them the one time in the G1. So the DQ is called at 15 minutes and 28 seconds with the Iron Fingers being used. And then he attacks Yoshihashi further, sets up for the last ride powerbomb when Jon Moxley arrives, comes out from the back, not through the crowd, and attacks Minoru Suzuki for retribution from the night prior, ending with a Death Rider and holding up the title on top of a fallen Suzuki who is shown smiling while down on his back. And I guess we're going to know in a few hours where this is set, but my presumption would be Osaka next month. If you're doing Osaka Joe Hall, this would be, you have to load up that show.
Oh, yeah, and I love the way this was laid out where, you know, obviously, okay, it's Ospreay and Zack for the British title, and it's going to be Moxley and Minoru Suzuki with the for the U.S. title. I'm going to predict that, you know, I think Minoru Suzuki is going to take that belt because of, you know, Moxley's AEW contract status. He can't work in the United States. He can't defend that belt on their upcoming tours, and very ambitious tours in the United States. I think they're going to need someone with the star power of Minoru Suzuki, and he's defending the United States title in the U.S. I think that's going to be a draw for a lot of the fans.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this match. I mean, this match, I think, made me realize how much I like Suzuki-gun, where I think every person in this four-man team has something that, I mean, maybe Taichi, not you guys wouldn't agree, but like every other person, I think they have such individual personalities.
That's it's like out. Four people that I could not imagine these four at a restaurant together. No. Like just such divergent personalities.
But they do hang out, like they ride together, you know, everything. I mean, and obviously Mox was the big surprise on the show. I don't know if a lot of us expected him to be here. Jericho was not on the show, but Mox, I think, coming out was a big surprise. The way they stacked the post match, this show, I guess its purpose is to almost like announce a card visually, and you kind of got to see the formation of all of these different matches one by one as, you know, guys were being paired with each other, choking each other out. You're like, oh, they're going to do that match. And then this guy's attacking this guy. Oh, they're going to do that match. It was really exciting, and overall, I really enjoyed it. What also stood out to me, though, in this match was how much the Japanese audience love Yoshihashi. Like, he is just, the moment he gets tagged in there, nobody expects him to do anything of significance, but they all cheer for him because he's just, you know, he's essentially a weak fighter with a big heart. And it's almost like when he goes after Lance Archer, and I think they purposely paired them together, you know, having Yoshihashi go up against the biggest guy in the match, and just like Yoshihashi attempting to punch him and Archer just basically, you know, having no effect on Archer and Archer just beating him. And this audience just kind of laughs like, oh, how cute, you know? It's like the little kid trying to like attack the big guy again. But they really like him.
Oh, yeah, I think, you know, the thing with Yoshihashi is that he's the perennial underdog, and people really relate to him, I think, because he's like, you know, I could be him. I could be a wrestler. If I was a wrestler, I could be him, like, losing all the time, but still, like, keep fighting.
High bar.
High bar. But I think, like, just his character, he's kind of, kind of, not, I don't want to say dumb, but, like, he's kind of very naive and stuff. And
this is our truth. This is our truth.
Yeah, and it relates.
He's got his, like, following for his point on the show.
But he takes himself seriously, whereas R-Truth is a lot more of a comedian. You know, like, I don't know if Yoshihashi even thinks of himself as a comedian at all, like, or even as like a quote unquote loser. Like, he's a guy who thinks he should be. He's always trying to be next level.
Everyone knows what I mean by loose explosion, right? They don't think that.
If you watch any of those,
thankfully he's removed
those chaos DVDs where they're just going to like amusement parks or going fishing or going to a hot spring for the weekend, like it comes through. Like I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen clips of them, and like they just make fun. The other chaos guys just make fun, but they love him. You know, like Okada loves this guy. Nakamura, when he was in the group, he loves this guy, and like I think Ishii probably loves this guy, and he's just part of their group, and he's like the little brother. And who doesn't like the little brother sometimes, you know? So.
Tetsuya Naito and Sonata versus Jay White and Kenta was the main event. A ton of heat for Kenta coming out. There were a lot of people upset about this end to Wrestle Kingdom. I was surprised it was that pronounced.
We were in a heavy LIJ section where we were sitting.
That's right. Yeah, we were.
The fact that it was controversial suggests that, I mean, that was exactly
that was
the intent, right?
It was the goal.
Look at the reaction Kenta got tonight. Mm-hmm. Overnight, they turned him into the hottest villain in the entire company, and it's all because of he ruined that very special moment.
I think he's the best heel in wrestling right now.
He was fantastic in this match. His playing with the crowd, the mannerisms that he was doing, like this is a guy that I think that post-match attack, that was like the last, like everything clicked. And it's been a slow progression from going back to Dallas last summer at the G1. You know, the G1, he was good. Was he one of the top three? No, he wasn't. And it's been slow. It's been steady. The heel turn was a very strong positive. And I think throughout this, you know, you've seen him like slowly mature into this role, and it just seems like it's now all in sync.
It almost felt like the heel turn allowed the shackles to come off, and now he gets to fully express who he is. And I just, like, you can tell he's having the time of his fucking life when he's performing as this new character. Like, he just, again, I'm incredibly so happy for him to see the transformation he's made over the course of the year.
He's mocking the fans. They're chanting "Go away" at him throughout the match. Naito was in with Kenta, spat at him, and then they worked on the floor for a while with Naito getting run into the barricade, and then Jay and Sonata paired off as well. Sonata missed a moonsault onto Jay landing on his feet. Sleeper suplex was hit, and then the Blade Runner is attempted by Jay White, and it gets countered with the O'Connor roll, with Sonata catching him at 14 minutes. So Sonata gets the victory, and Jay low blows Sonata. Naito and Kenta continue the fight, and chairs are brought in. So Jay White and Kenta utilizing chairs. Again, this was like this little alliance that hasn't been pronounced as these two Bullet Club members, but here they were kind of aligned together, and the crowd continues to chant at them. White says that Sonata has believed in himself too much of late, and he's here to correct that, bring down that self-esteem. And Kenta cut a promo on everybody to close the show, and for the second straight night, it was ending it off with a lot of heat on Kenta, who he, on paper, is not a huge challenger, and you have to make him into that. And I think these 2 nights did wonders for Kenta to make Naito and Kenta a match that you can headline a big show with.
I think after this program with Naito, where he's going to lose, he's not going to win the title, but this is where you transition him into the big program with possibly a returning Shibata. We'll see. I'm not going to make predictions about that. Or
I feel that ship has sailed, and I do question, like, it was such an awesome moment to do that, but I do feel like both nights, that shadow has been over top of Kenta, that everyone's expecting that moment with Shibata, and I just think that there was if Shibata truly could do anything, it would have been done. And I think at this point, it's almost trying to forget that and keep Shibata away.
If the idea, though, was to pair Kenta with Naito, is now the time to really do it? Or do you simply just kind of throw out little teasers like they have with Kenta sitting cross-legged just so that you could save that for further down the line? So much of it is dependent on the status and whether or not he could be cleared. But
I would argue if that was the intention and they knew in the summer that this is a match we're going to get to, I think that angle in the summer was too much at that time. They would have timed it out wrong. I think that it could have been, like, think of that moment where he has broken away from Shibata. We've never heard Shibata's reaction, and he starts doing the poses. And it's building and building to that final moment where Shibata just loses it and attacks him. And then it just seems like that would be a more natural path. I could be wrong.
My speculation is that, like, Shibata was probably supposed to get involved somehow. And I think Shibata just said, "Oh, you want me to get physical? Okay." And then he just went with it. And he's like, I'm going to do all my spots. I'm going to do a running drop kick, like PK. I'm going to take these bumps. It's like,
Ghetto's just like,
you said yes. You said I could go out there. So it probably, like, got way more out of hand than I think they had intended.
It's like the Tank Abbott spot where it was like, "Hey, can I use a weapon in my match?" Yeah, go for it. Pulls a switchblade on the dude on live pay-per-view. Yeah. It's the only Shibata Tank Abbott reference
theory
I will
might
compare.
be, what was his last match? It was against Okada at King of
Sakura Genesis.
Sakura Genesis. Maybe they want his return match to be at Sakura Genesis. That's a possibility. I can see it totally what you're saying, Wai. Totally see that happening. We'll see. But the thing is, with Kenta being so hot, he ruined Wrestle Kingdom for so many fans. He's got so much heat. He's got so much heat from last night at New Year's Dash. Even when he loses this match, he just pair him with another hot babyface, and is he still going to be a hot heel in the company? So, I think it was really good timing for the Naito program for him.
Yeah, and I could see Jay White and Kenta, they're in a weird spot themselves. They're going to have these singles programs, and I like these two as a tag team as well. So coming out of this show, these are some of the directions we have. Of course, the big one is Naito Kenta, Jay White and Sonata for the coming off. I think Sonata, you have to kind of reheat him and Jay White is a good opponent for him. Suzuki and Moxley, Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay were certainly hinted towards. Okada and Taichi, which is
a fine February match.
You need something for Okada.
Yeah.
Kanemaru and Desperado with Roppongi 3K for the junior heavyweight tag titles. Goto and Shingo, which sounds awesome. And then Finlay and Juice Robinson with Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi. So those are like 8 directions you got out of, the 2 nights, but the majority on Dash.
Like in one show, they managed to cook all these programs in one go, which is very impressive.
And we can talk about this now because Will Cooling was suggested this. Is the style of show that Dash is something you could get more out of throughout the year, 3 or 4 times maybe, as opposed to just relying on the post big show press conference that they do 2 days later. It's, to me, something after Dominion, doing a show like this, especially when there's people traveling, this is always, I wouldn't overdo a show like this, but there's always a lot of buzz of, man, what's going to happen? What is next? And kind of coming for the angles as opposed to any one match that, in this case, you don't know any matches.
I think it depends on the size of the show, but certainly for a big show like a Dominion, I would say typically isn't a G1 final kind of, doesn't it serve that purpose on the undercard where a lot of the guys are done with the tournament and therefore just, engage in these multi-man matches that might set up future programs. But I think depending on the size of the show, you could definitely do another type of these.
I think if you coincide them with big holiday periods like Golden Week, and the G1 falls under the summer holiday Oban. So I think your idea of because they don't ever do anything with the G1 Climax undercard, on the final night. Yeah, do a type of New Year's Dash on that and set up things, and then you have the finals. Perfect. Maybe I'm trying to remember what the Golden Week matches card is, but maybe like Sakura Genesis post show do a big angle heavy thing to set up for spring and leading up to summer.
So overall, this show, I think angle-wise, I like this show a lot better than last year's, which kind of felt like a dud of a Dash show. It just felt like they didn't have any really big, strong ideas of years past. But this one, I like a lot of the different directions, and I like the overall theme that it feels like there is a effort or an acknowledgement that our tag division is a weak aspect of our presentation and something that we have these guys that we can beef this up. And I'm hoping that it's not just Tanahashi and Ibushi for this one-off, that these other little pairings that we could see kind of enhance this tag division, because there's no reason New Japan can't have a quality tag division that is intriguing instead of just the runaround of 3 teams fighting over these titles all the time.
It feels very fresh. You're taking some of the more established names out of the main event scene and therefore leaving space for other people to move up. And we see Kenta now moving into a prime slot. Somebody like Shingo taking, essentially the never role. And then, I think Moxley Suzuki feels incredibly fresh too, with given Suzuki's, I think, maybe more, I would say, tepid end of the year. So a lot of fresh directions coming out of the show. I was really happy with it.
I'm so excited about this possibility of Tanahashi and Ibushi. That's my big takeaway from this show, is because I'm always harping about the tag division, and these two feel like such a natural pairing, and I can just see them come up with amazing double team moves and just having amazing chemistry. And it's
big enough that not Osaka, but I could headline one of the Hokkaido shows the week prior, the New Beginning. That's something you can't say about their tag programs of many years past.
And they automatically elevate other people who are facing them. If they get beat by Evil and Shingo, that elevates those guys because they're on. Tanahashi's a legend in this company, and he still can go. So I'm really excited about it.
It's a really good role for Tanahashi, to have him in that division. Okay, we're now going to switch over to Raw from Monday night in Oklahoma City.
This is weird.
Is everyone set?
Yeah, I have my notes.
So you two had a struggle with the first hour.
Yeah, unfortunately, because
this was a technological struggle, not a physical one.
Yes.
No. Because we don't get USA TV here, we had to, watch on alternative means, and we were expecting portions of the show to be uploaded throughout the show. That's why we decided to start a little bit later. So we missed a portion of the show, but I did go back and rewatch it, so I think we're pretty much caught up.
Okay, well we'll go through it. I got to catch the entire show. It kicked off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out, and the first words uttered on a episode of Raw for the new year was Paul Heyman saying, "Happy New Year to you too, bitches." WWE's favorite word.
Or Paul Heyman's favorite word,
probably. And this crowd, I thought, in particular, the first half of the show, this was a really strong crowd by Raw standards. They seemed very engaged in all of this. Heyman explained that no one is worthy enough of challenging Lesnar at the Rumble. He brought up all the accolades of Lesnar and said that he is going to suggest a dream match where every challenger on the roster can have a chance against Brock Lesnar, because Brock is entering the Royal Rumble at the number 1 position, and this will not be a case where his title is on the line, but Brock will be in the Rumble itself. Presumably, this is just an easy way to set up his Mania challenger by being in the Rumble and having a key elimination.
Did they explain what would happen if Brock actually won, though?
It means he's run through the locker room, and I don't think anyone's expecting him to win. And that
means he wouldn't have a match at WrestleMania?
He'll face himself.
Yeah, I feel like that side of things maybe required a little bit of explanation. I think the idea that somebody would be willing to put themselves in a disadvantage at a number 1 slot because you're so hungry to commit violence to other people, it's interesting. I think it somewhat works for Brock, but then again, it's like Brock to me seems like the type of champion that's like being avoidant. He's the guy who rarely comes by and will only show up whenever he feels like it, and so it makes sense. I can't completely buy it because I still see Brock as, just the part-time champion, not necessarily somebody who's so hungry to commit violence that he's willing to, if you want to beat people up so much, why don't you show up more often? Why don't you work every pay-per-view?
Because he comes for the big ones to make the most money.
He seems like the type of champion who wants to do the least amount of work, and so putting himself at number 1 to me isn't completely congruent with the type of Brock Lesnar they've established thus far.
I like this because there's no one that is ready for the title. They have not heated anyone up to the degree that I would want to pull the trigger on a title match at the Rumble. It would feel as though it's kind of a minor Lesnar match. And in this one, you have someone that I think everyone knows this guy's getting eliminated, and the intrigue is who that's going to be, who will be the Mania opponent. And I think you can do a lot of cool things with him. Like, he does a big elimination spot, ring's empty. Dio Madden has to be one of the entrants.
Oh, my.
He has to come out.
So he can Dio Madden Brock at WrestleMania.
Well, I don't think that will be happening, but I guess it solidifies your Royal Rumble plans.
For me?
Yeah.
That I'm going to watch?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not watching this shit. No.
Well, you can listen to us then.
That's how I keep up. No, like, I just, based on what you're saying, John, you know what I would do? I'd have, like, the number 2 guy be the person who he's going to face at WrestleMania, eliminates Brock right away.
Immediately.
Yeah.
You could do many different things with Lesnar in this match, and we'll get into more about the entrance coming in. But that was the big angle for Lesnar at the start of the show. Then we go backstage to Rey Mysterio, who is in mid-speech, speaking Spanish, finishes talking, and then Sarah Schreiber walks in for the English portion of the interview, and he says that he only has days left, not years, in his career. I hope it's more than days.
I hope so, too.
Can you imagine Liger and Ray retiring within days? That would be quite the loss. He loves his son, thanks him for convincing him to stay here and face the best competition, and Andrade does not deserve to represent the Latinos. And that takes us into our Andrade-Rey Mysterio rematch for the United States title. Lawler points out at the introduction that the ring announcer failed to note that Zelina Vega was in Andrade's corner and that he should be fired for that omission. There is a chant of Lucha Libre as Andrade gets sent into the steps after Rey was on his shoulders with kind of this victory roll to send him in. Then a Cabrata gets caught. Rey spins into a tornado DDT. Crowd was very hot for this. And these two, I thought this was tremendous interaction between these two. This was one of their matches that just everything was clicking. Andrade avoided the 619. Rey popped up, nailed a code red, and he makes the cover as Zelina gets Andrade's foot onto the bottom rope prior to the referee seeing it. So he counts 3 at 10 minutes, 5 seconds, and it would lead to the match being restarted after the commercial break. But the first half of this, I thought this was a really strong TV match.
Yeah, I feel like these two actually get better the more times they wrestle each other, and maybe that's just them figuring out their chemistry with one another, but very impressive Raw television match.
Yeah, I like this match. Can I make a note about Andrade's ring robe here?
Yes.
Like, I think this thing is so fucking orange. It's unbelievable. It looks like Hulk Hogan's like got skinned and they made a robe out of his skin or something. But like, I'm thinking it was like gifted him by his future father-in-law and said, "Hey, Andrade, brother, here you go." And Andrade's like, "I don't want to piss off Ric Flair. Okay, I got to wear this fucking thing." And then he just got the most orange set of like long tights as well to go with his new robe. Looks tremendous though. I love it.
Orange is a tough color to pull off. There was a Miz and Mrs. promo, which is coming back at the end of the month. Match gets restarted. There's a sunset flip that sends Andrade into the post on the apron. Crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." And the big spot sees Andrade roll to the floor. Rey's caught on his shoulders, and then Andrade throws Rey into Zelina Vega, and she is knocked out. Rey reacts with the same reaction you would have if you had accidentally shot somebody. He was devastated. And in the ring, Andrade tries to go for the hammerlock DDT, and John Cone steps in to stop this from happening, and they're trying to surmise that there must be an injury to Rey. He just goes back to the floor and is like in tears about Zelina Vega. Andrade has to force him back into the ring to re-engage and do the hammerlock DDT, hits it, and pins him at 5 minutes and 18 seconds. I was a little confused by whatever John Cone was doing here, and it didn't really play into any kind of story, but I thought overall this was a really strong match to kick off Raw.
Yeah, from all accounts, seemed like the highlight of the show.
And afterwards, Andrade tore off Rey's mask and handed it to Zelina Vega as a prize, and Rey had to put a towel over his head. So it looks like we're teasing the maybe mask versus hair or mask versus Zelina's hair.
No, it's mask versus Andrade's neck. I think he watched Wrestle Kingdom. He's like, "Fuck these guys. I'm going to try to break my neck in a match taking bumps as well."
A neck has never been put up on the line in a match, so maybe that could be our first time ever, along with the first ever fist fight that we're getting next week. So,
Fist fight.
Yeah, we've never seen a fist fight before in a pro wrestling show. Charlie is with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe Owens explains the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They both need one another. Joe has a brand new t-shirt. This one might be on the list for best merchandise. Night Night with a bunch of Z's on them. Anyone else could not pull this one off. So Samoa Joe really stretching people's desire for merchandise if he can make this one a hot seller. Joe proposes a 6-man tag tonight because Joe knows a guy. I know a guy. But he won't tell Kevin Owens. He's not going to tell Charlie. But Rollins and AOP should be worried. And that would be the hook for the show, was who was the mystery partner going to be. Rollins and AOP accepted the challenge afterwards. The Street Profits come out. This was pretty brazen that after last week's horrendous backstage interview, these guys were given a live mic in the ring. So clearly got a second chance here. This was fine. And then we go into our tag title match. It's a 3-way with the Viking Raiders, the Street Profits, and Way's favorite tandem, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows for the Raw tag titles. We did get chinlock spots. We got the heat on Montez Ford. Gallows got sent over the barricade to Eric was the one who was thrown over by Gallows to set up the commercial break. We come back. Dawkins fires up. There's a sky high. Ford comes off with a frog splash while Anderson makes a blind tag. Ford hits a tope con hero to the floor, and then the Viking Raiders return, and it ends with Ivar coming off with a splash onto Carl Anderson after a power bomb, and they retain the titles in 15 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yeah, this is fine, but I have one complaint. This show is really fucking red. The lighting, the ropes, everything. And
it's Raw.
But what? The Street
It's
Profits
very blue on Tuesday.
The Street Profits are like one of 4 or 5 acts wearing red, and it's just jarring to me.
You know, I actually quite agree. And I think it's I don't whatever. Like, I think Raw looks good. Like, it production wise, it is really good. But I think they're reliant on the show branding a little bit too much. And I think principally the thing that makes it look so red is the crowd splash, the red light splashing on the crowd, which I kind of find unnecessary. You know, yes, it's important to distinguish between your two shows, but it is too red.
Yeah, just memo: don't wear red. If you're talent, don't wear red. Just wear yellow, blue. I don't fucking care. Just don't wear red.
What about orange? Orange robes.
Hey, if it's as long as it's gifted by Ric Flair, that's okay.
Charlie was with Joe. Again, is pestering him about who the partner is. Owens comes in and says, I'm pretty eager too, because I've done some bad things to people on this roster, and I want to know who it is. Joe says, how about I show you? And Charlie follows them, the intrepid reporter that she is, and they come back from break, and they open a door. And it's a dark room. This is the mysterious room we're supposed to believe. Owens walks in, takes a look, smiles. He is very satisfied with the partner, but it's not good news for Seth Rollins and AOP as we leave.
Okay, so what was the Big Show doing in a dark room?
I'm almost certain this was to make everyone believe it was going to be Aleister Black, and then this was just to swerve people.
Right, so it wasn't. And it was instead the Big Show in a completely dark room.
Maybe he just didn't. He's like, I didn't have to work one match last year. Got a really healthy downside. Maybe they won't find me in this room. I'm just going to stay with the lights out.
Tucked in the corner.
Haven't wrestled since 2018. I'm good. I'll show up to TV. Just don't look for me. Becky Lynch walks out. She's very happy to hear the fans' voices, and her life has changed a lot over the past year. She's been on the road, but had a lot of time to reflect over the holidays. Says, I could be content. I could just coast and be a star and avoid the woman that I can't beat. And they show footage of her loss to Asuka at Rumble last year. Asuka comes out, cuts her fiery promo, and gets into Becky's face, and Becky just drops her with I guess the man's right? Is that what we call this?
Sure.
The counter to Lacey. And she just leaves while Asuka is furious.
What'd you think, WH?
Well, I like Becky's homage to Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. She's licking her lips a lot. It might be as dry in that building as it is in our hotel room here.
The chapstick in Japan is fantastic.
It is wonderful.
I got to say, one thing I have learned just in the last hour is that Wei has his temperature here at 28. Dude, I'm rocking 19 in my room.
I'm sorry, man.
No. It's not even that cold. It's not even that hot in here.
I'm pretty damn cold, and I'm trying to make sure I don't get sick. So I'm turning this stuff up.
He had soup for breakfast.
I only drank soup. I drank miso soup. I drank cream corn. So it was a very fluid filled breakfast.
Just a note of I I can't understand everything Asuka is saying because she's speaking very fast.
Oh, but tell us what you made out.
Well, she's speaking very fast and like heavy Osaka dialect, which is where she's from. And
did she order coffee?
She did not order coffee, John. But she said something to the effect of like, "You can't beat me." Muri means like difficult, impossible. And then she called Becky Baka several times, which just means idiot. So she has no respect for Becky. I would never call Becky Lynch an idiot. I like her a lot, but maybe Asuka does not feel the same way.
I like this program. They have not overthought it. She can't beat this woman. The win means something, and they're not trying to get too cute. And sometimes when you've got 5 weeks to build a pay-per-view, it's like we got to come up with ideas, and they're keeping this very simple.
I like the program a lot too. I love how it's Becky Lynch saying, introducing self-doubt, which is I think really unusual for a WWE champion to do. Especially somebody who is on your video game covers like a Becky Lynch to say, hey, I'm not sure if I can do it. Which is why I don't know if I completely understood why they decided to do at the end what they did here with Becky simply decking Asuka. To me, it was like, isn't this the time to continue to give more to Asuka so that Becky can continue to doubt herself some more, rather than just having Becky, deliver, I would say, a pretty weak-looking punch, but laying Asuka out right here.
I can totally give you that, because it's the same complaint we had about that setup for Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy a few weeks ago. Like, Black's going over in this thing, and you're trying to build these two equals going at it, and the setup is Black mass and Murphy leaves unconscious before the match. And it just seems like that little punctuation or exclamation point at the end of the segment, you could have done without. Make them earn that pop at the end.
So I see this, and I'm like, well, Becky, why do you have to doubt yourself at all? You just laid her out with one punch. I felt that was a little bit.
It was. I was going to go for a word, but it's escaping me now. Schreiber is
Baka.
Yeah, could be Baka. Schreiber is with Andrade and Vega, and Andrade just in Spanish here cuts a promo holding Ray's mask, and this was shot very well. Ray comes in and it's just the back of his head, and he is losing it. Vega is screaming at the top of her lungs. It really conveyed the chaos, and then he takes back the mask and puts it back on him. I thought this was really well done.
I agree. I thought it was blocked well. It looked great, came across great. The intensity, it felt strong. Any thoughts, WH?
No, it's same. I thought it was just shot really well with like just not being able to see.
I know I skipped over a segment.
Yes. Not being able to see Ray's face and just the back of his head. And I thought, oh, he's unmasked. That's awesome. Yeah, loved it.
Prior to this, Eric Rowan runs into Mojo Rawley backstage, and he's carrying his cage that is hidden. And Mojo wants to look at what's inside. So Rowan relents, and after all this time of protecting what's in here, he shows him. And Mojo Rawley has to give a Razzies level performance to sell the horror of what's inside of this cage, culminating with, "What is wrong with you, man?" And I don't know what the fuck was going on here. I don't know what the hell's going on later in this show with Rowan and this goddamn creature, but this was the point where I had my earplugs ready because I thought I was going to hear screams down the hall that would be reminiscent of Mojo Rawley, but coming from WH Park.
Oh, yeah. See, this show has been...
How many fucks did you get during this? Because you two watched the show. I watched this on my own.
There were a lot, yeah. I didn't really count.
I was thinking, this Raw's not bad. I'm probably going to disappoint everyone, but then this came on, I was like, what the fuck is this fucking shit? This, like, Mojo Rawley... This guy's been shit his whole career in the WWE. He's had shit gear. He's got that shit fucking football face paint on his fucking face. And then he can cut a good promo when he needs to, but now he's just another fucking jobber in this company. Rowan, I used to like this guy. Now he's carrying a fucking cage with, like, what's inside there? The Great Muta's fucking head or something?
I think it was an episode of Raw, considering your reaction.
Yeah, like, I've not seen a Raw since, SummerSlam weekend at O'Grady's. And now I got this... It was good, and then it turned to this fucking shit.
Well, I mean, listen, it's the worst was yet to come, I suppose.
No, this is true.
To this type of stuff, but I find it so stupid, especially the terrible acting from Mojo Rawley here. But I do get a kick out of it from like just like a sixth sense, like seeing these grown adults try to act as if.
Is that the payoff at the end that there's actually nothing in the cage? It's not alive. Everyone else is just seeing something?
Because like, didn't it spray mist or something into that jobber's face?
Maybe it's not human. Maybe it's
No, it's the Great Muda's head. That's what he's got in there.
It's got to be a severed head, or
it's not Muda's head because I just saw it 2 days ago.
No, you saw Keiji Muto's head. You didn't say the Great Muda's head.
Okay. Then we have this was awesome. It was
so let me just. So now that they've established this, it has to be something physical, right? It can't just be nothing. Because then why would Mojo Rawley sell it? It has to be something.
Yes, they have given you that conclusion. There has to be something in there that can project a red substance. Eric Rowan then killed this job guy in 24 seconds with the Iron Claw, and then afterwards, the job guy gets sprayed in the face by whatever this creature is, and he had to top Mojo Rawley by going up the ramp to the back, and
I don't know. I thought this was pretty fucking great. Like, I love this shit. Sorry, WH. It's like so stupid. And all I ask from these jobber matches is that they give me some slight variation on your typical jobber match. And they've changed it now so that the gimmick is like, rather than like a jobber wanting to know what's inside and nobody getting to see it, it's now Eric Rowan saying, I'm going to make you look inside and you're going to be so horrified you're never going to want to look at it again. And now it even spits.
Listen, this job guy has a name. It's KJ Orso. And KJ, if you're listening, brother, hey, 1984 wants its tights back. What the fuck are you wearing, dude?
AJ Styles versus Akira Tozawa.
Okay, let me just say, like, this match came on, WH is like, oh my god, AJ versus Tozawa? This is going to be great. And I said,
you haven't been following Akira Tozawa of late, have you?
Don't get your hopes up, dude.
These guys are getting a minute. They actually got 2. They announced Styles and Orton for next week in Lexington, Kentucky. And then Styles just lifts up Tozawa after going for a cover and starts doing all the Randy Orton spots. He's slapping the mat. He hits an RKO to pin Tozawa in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. The kicker was AJ getting onto the turnbuckle, and they do the jib shot.
Great. Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. It was very funny. This is certainly the bait and switch if you were someone that was excited to see AJ Styles and Akira Tozawa on Raw. But I think if you've been following Raw, you would not have been stunned by all this was Akira Tozawa as a setup to the real match, which is next week.
He was a generic body for AJ to do Orton's moves on.
Yes.
So disappointing. I was so
Dragon Gate alumni that does not get promo time.
Please, Tozawa, please, if you're listening, please leave. Go back to Dragon Gate. Go to New Japan. They'll use you. They'll push you. Look at Kenta. Jesus. Anyways, another thing, AJ wearing red. Fuck. I fucking hate this color now. Really. Like, does everyone on fucking SmackDown wear blue?
I think AJ did when he was on.
AJ definitely color coordinated with the shows he was on.
Fuck you,
like
AJ.
It's deliberate that he's got red on.
Sasha has blue hair. At least the Fiend's not on Raw anymore because it would have been very red. So did you keep watching this as they went to break?
No.
So, like, as AJ's walking up the ramp, you see somebody, like, run into the ring and just, like, basically slide underneath the ropes. And the camera cuts to the hard cam, and security's just, like, pouncing on this dude. And
wait a minute. So this was a commercial? Was it like
this
picture in
was
picture?
as they were going to commercial.
Oh, so, I missed this.
So as AJ was walking up the ramp, like, they cut to, they almost, like, focused on it. They focused from the hard cam on this security, stopping what looked to be a fan running into the ring.
Wearing a suit. That was what
wearing a suit. So then, like, online, I'm, like, looking at it. Somebody took a photo in the crowd, and, like, oh, who makes a run into an empty ring wearing a suit? Then the next segment occurred. It was a fucking pastor making his way into the ring for the segment.
So they thought the pastor was a fan, and they tackled him.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It was all on TV.
Oh, man. Amazing. I don't know how what happened was when they went to the breaks, that's when I was getting up and, like, walking out.
But, like, why? I guess the pastor, rather than walk up the stairs like a pastor would, decided to slide underneath the ring like somebody, like he was a wrestler or, like, a fan actually.
Thinks he's one of the boys.
Yeah.
Just like Fat Masa here in New Japan.
Oh, my. Yes.
So Lashley and Lana come out. Oh, this segment is infinitely better after that knowledge. And they get married on the spot here. He pronounces them husband and wife, and then they have by far their tamest kiss to date. Lana tells the minister that he's boring and shoos him out of the ring. Hope he ended up in jail. And she says, no one wants to see this ring on her finger. She runs down the fans as basic, pathetic civilians. They're all jealous of their love. Lashley says that the worst one is Lana's ex-husband, Rusev, who wasn't man enough to keep his wife. And I'll just say, they're giving Lana like the lion's share of the dialogue. And I think that we have such a low bar for what great promos on Raw are that people are starting to believe like, oh, Lana's like a really great talker. I could not disagree more. I feel that she is, I don't know, it just does not work for me.
I mean, is there a difference between being comfortable in front of a camera and
delivery? Yes, I think so. It's, to me, it's still very much just, like, she's just got this weird, like, flow to her words that it's...
A lot of it seems improvised, actually. Much of what she's been doing.
I think somewhat, like, I think she does have like her points to hit, but is very much just trying to combat the reaction as well. I don't know. It's I would almost like shudder to like say that these are even wrestling promos. It's more just like somebody trying to like field, I guess, negative reaction. So then we see Rusev appear on the screen with a green screen of a beach behind him. As he announces, it is I, Rusev, from Rusev Day.
What was going through your head once this popped up, WH?
First of all, I'm thinking, are they getting fucking married again? I thought I was spared this, like, not watching it last week.
They didn't say I do last week.
And then this past year fucking sucks. This guy's a terrible actor. He's obviously doesn't know how to conduct himself in a wrestling environment.
He
Lana,
just got jumped, dude.
I know.
They're like, why did we get rid of Bischoff?
Oh, he should have Bischoff. Lana, she's fucking terrible on promos. I don't watch enough, but I was like watching this, I'm thinking, please just go back to being fucking Russian because you're probably better at that, just using a fake accent. You know,
she was very good as the Russian character.
Yeah, she's fine at that. But Lashley, what I loved, while she's talking, he's just smiling. He's got this shit-eating grin. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, man, they're paying me all this fucking money to do nothing. I fucking love it. But yeah, keep going. He had a nice suit, though. I did like his suit. Very nice. But keep going, John. I have more thoughts later, I'm sure.
Yes. At Way0937 for my favorite video so far this year that occurred during this segment. He announces that they are Mrs. and Mrs. Bob, said that they should open up a joint bank account together, which they used to have before Lana wiped him out. So I guess he's broke now. And Lana did not dispute this. So that is... I don't know the legalities of just wiping out your significant other like that monetarily, but that's the reason he must take this job. He's decided to take his own honeymoon, and he put together a wedding album for them, which was a bunch of stills over top of wedding theme music from last week. And Lana notes that she hates Rusev, and then she's screaming at the top of her lungs when Lashley finally tells Lana, shut up. And he cuts a promo on Rusev and said that you used to have a wife, and I have stripped you of your manhood. And if you have any balls left, I'm asking you to show up with them next week so I can strip them off you and shove them down your damn throat. So next week, we are not only going to get the first ever fist fight, we are going to get a ball swallowing.
I read my notes. We're getting a castration angle. Not seen.
Oh, it's going to be a
KENTA
tribute.
Val Venus segment years ago.
Yeah, but they're
choppy his Rusev Day.
They're going to go further. They're going to shove them down each other's throats.
Shove them down against their will. There is so much wrong with this on so many levels. Rusev then says, no, that will not work next week. It's the return of the Bulgarian brute. I will brutalize every portion of your body. And if there's anything left, it's all yours, Lana. Clearly, a retaliation promo that was also designed to elicit a connection to Bob's balls.
Bob's balls.
That if there's anything left, they're Lana's.
Okay. I was really disappointed because on Friday there was a DDT show. I couldn't make it there because Stardom was running a show. But I feel like I got my fill on this episode of Raw.
Didn't Saki Kashima cut a similar promo to this at the end of the Stardom show?
Yeah, I'm gonna make you swallow my balls. That's right. Yeah, but I mean, clearly it's just they're going for camp with this angle. I mean, this green screen of like a beach in the background with like Rusev in a Hawaiian shirt. Lines like this.
Rusev's wardrobe has certainly been a high point of this run.
Yeah, but please, I'm interested in your thoughts.
The floor is yours.
What human being fucking talks like this? I know he's not an American. He doesn't he's not his native tongue, but like, Jesus Christ, like the stuff Bobby was saying as well. And I don't know. No human talks like this. I don't care if you're like pretending you're Russian, Bulgarian, you're a stereotypical Asian character. No human talks like this. This is bullshit. I was like ready to just like tap out. I was like,
oh, I know.
I was like Jay White last night in one of Sonata's like submission moves.
I guess it's just something that I don't even think that much about anymore because I've been watching Raw for so long. Like, I'm not even I don't expect natural human dialogue anymore when I'm watching. Like, I expect.
Why would we want natural human dialogue?
I don't know what I would expect. It's like, honestly, I don't even want to sound crude, but like the best comparison I can make is like the type of dialogue you'd find in a porno and the type of acting you would find in a porno. It's just like that kind of low budget. Bad acting, bad lines, camp, really.
I've seen better acting in, like, a dinner theater.
Wow.
You've been to, what was the last dinner theater?
I can't remember, but I'm sure it was better than this
Never
fucking
been
shit.
to one.
If I go to one, it'll be better than this shit.
Oh, perhaps.
From there, we go to Charlie backstage with R-Truth, who recently set the record for the most championships ever won in this company. Take that, Bruno.
All right.
Wow. Awesome.
Liv Morgan walks in, just interrupts, and says that Lana is going to be in Lashley's corner next week, so Rusev will need someone in his corner, and that's a moment that she would live for.
Jesus Christ.
There's a great moment where, like WH repeats the line, and he's like, oh, that's a pun. Oh, okay.
Why does she look like Dana Brooke now? Why does every blonde woman look like Charlotte Flair in this company? That's what I want to know.
Well, that takes us to Charlotte Flair versus Sarah Logan. That was next. That never got started. Flair came out to Pyro, and...
Okay, but sorry, what do you think of...
Is there more analysis to this?
What I mean is, like, Liv Morgan's return was built up to for a number of weeks with those vignettes, and we had the big moment last week. And, I suppose this was more just like her announcing that there will be more to come, but she's supposed to be a babyface, right? She's opposing Lana.
Yes.
And she's teaming up with
She should have been on the honeymoon with Rusev.
Sure. I guess it's still early, but I think this makeover has been pretty weak thus far, and I really don't see this working as a babyface gimmick.
No, probably not. It's not upsetting my world in any way, though.
Okay.
Charlotte Flair and Sarah Morgan.
Sarah Logan.
Who did I say? Sarah Morgan? Sorry, Sarah Logan.
No one cares.
It's been a while.
They plug backstage with The Miz on this week. Maybe we'll get a live report from Renee. The wrestling she took in this past weekend.
Maybe.
Logan jumps her. They brawl into the crowd. The bell never rings to start the match. And then Logan is in the ring with Charlotte's robe. And she takes the robe and she proceeds to whip it onto the mat. Robes do not break.
They shed.
I guess maybe that was the attempt. Flair attacked her, and then Flair got sent to the post, came back with a big boot, reclaimed the robe, and walked out, prevailing in this segment.
There was no match, right?
No match.
Okay. My notes.
That's for another week.
My notes are Charlotte versus Deer Antler Face, because that's what I'm assuming the face paint on Sarah Logan's face was supposed to be. She looked like the poster child for Guns and Ammo magazine in this match. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This fucking sucked. I mean, I was just surprised she didn't fucking injure her like she did Kyrie in the TLC match. Thankful.
The match got thrown out because of the robe. Because of the pre-match attack. Okay, sure. So they're doing this again. Charlotte versus Sarah Logan.
Robe holds barred. They announced for the Rumble, joining Lesnar and Roman Reigns, who had been previously announced, Eric Rowan's in the Rumble, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Ricochet. So
Rico Chad.
Start handicapping your picks. No Way Jose, Drew McIntyre. This was all about getting Drew McIntyre over in a babyface role. He had kind of, like, this was the strongest in that direction. He comes out, he destroys the conga line, belly to Jose, and then the conga line dude trips over the steps and gets chopped and takes an Alabama slam onto the apron, the inverted Alabama slam. Future Shock DDT, Claymore with the 3-2-1 countdown that he's trying to get over in 1:43. And then afterwards, Drew gets on the mic and says, "Who dares me to do one more Claymore?" All right, who double dares me to hit another Claymore? To which Lawler says, "Glad we didn't get to the double dog dare." And he hits the Claymore as the crowd chants one more time. Great role for No Way Jose.
Has Drew McIntyre become like a children's birthday party entertainer?
He's like the
Who dares me, everybody?
He's like the entertainment for the evening.
3, 2, 1. Like, they must think we're so stupid.
It's like, oh, we've hired the wrestler for the kid's 8th birthday party.
Like, in order to turn this guy babyface, we're gonna add a 3, 2, 1 to his finisher before he does it, and then we're going to get him to double dog dare his audience.
No, only double dare.
Double dare. I'm sorry, but it works. Like, I can't say it doesn't work because I think they are turning him babyface effectively.
So he hits the Claymore, does a kip up, and he held on to the microphone for this sequence and notes that fact. Says, "I've always hated conga lines, except for that guy," as he points out, also WH's favorite conga line member, that's Cheeseburger. And he said he never had one opportunity to ever fight for the title, meaning NXT no longer exists in Raw canon. And he is entering the Royal Rumble, and again does his countdown. This was a significant push for Drew McIntyre, who feels like he is the guy that this is like Mania season, and this is the kind of stuff that you can always see. Like, let's get him with like some little catchy catchphrase with this 3, 2, 1. That's it.
Brilliant.
And adding more character to this guy, or at least attempting to. And to your point, Wade, like this was not groundbreaking content or dialogue, but it did get over with this crowd. I thought
we are children at a children's party watching Raw.
I thought the red on people was bad. No, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Lime green, worse. No, Jose.
What about Tanahashi's lime green this weekend?
It's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. Don't ever disparage this Tanahashi. Okay. Don't ever compare him to fucking No Way Jose.
If No Way Jose could wrestle like Hiroshi Tanahashi, I think WH would change his mind.
No, he still looks like shit. Like that, the armbands. That what is that? And then they're lime green, and his tights are lime green. No, he's terrible. Anyways, I just gotta say, Drew McIntyre. When did he get so tan? Because this man is like been spending too much time in the sun. Hey, SPF 500. Drew, look it up, dude. Like, it's not good for your skin. He's gonna look like he's like, how old is he now?
Ugh. I would say early 30s.
At the rate he's going with his tanning, like, he's going to look like he's 50 by the time he's 45. Or he's going to look like he's 60 by the time he's 45.
Well, the other big project, Aleister Black took on Shelton Benjamin. They had a short match. Black scissored the arm, going for an omoplata, and then Benjamin deadlift to slam him out of that. Benjamin hit a head kick, responded with a flying knee, and then Black lifts him up with the boot, Black Mass, in 2:43. Allowing Buddy Murphy to jump Aleister from behind, tosses him into the timekeeper's area, running knee to the jaw, and then placed a chair under Black's chin to hold his head in place as he drilled him with a knee. And Murphy just sits down on top of the barricade. So maybe Shibata's going to come after one of these two.
Oh.
These cross-legged
guys? Yeah.
Phonies. Yeah, I think it's interesting to compare these two because it's clear that Drew and Black are your two major projects on Raw. I think they have separated themselves from the pack, but who do you feel is kind of the front runner at this point between these two? Because I saw a much larger emphasis tonight on Drew McIntyre.
I think Drew is already somewhat established into like a main eventer's role, where I think Aleister Black feuding with Buddy Murphy seems to firmly put him in the lower mid-card, upper mid-card section. So I would say if you're going to have anybody go farther right now, it seems to be Drew McIntyre, but I think the long term, for me, it's Aleister Black.
I see more in Black long term. How about you?
Oh, Black. I just think if they were really serious about Drew McIntyre, they would have sustained his push from the time he re-debuted in the company, and he was pretty hot then, but they don't seem to have any faith in him. And I think Aleister Black, despite all the kind of like mishandling of him in Raw, like not having wrestled that much and doing those promos in the boiler room. By the way,
the room.
Just those are great anyways, just because your impersonation,
everyone's got their thing. WH.
It's
I'm not a fashionista, so.
But yeah, I think Black has a lot more upside. I think he's such a fresh, character in wrestling, not just the WWE. But yeah, I do say about this match, there's felt parts like these guys were not in sync, like Shelton and Aleister Black. And I was kind of saying, no way, I wish we could watch this at 1.5 times the speed.
I mean, it was only like a minute and a half, was it? Like
2:43.
It wouldn't.
It felt longer.
You could watch it, probably in 1 minute. But yeah,
who stands out to you as this Rumble? It's very much like a clean slate of who you're going to pair with Lesnar. And if you're just looking at the Raw roster, who jumps out at you? Like these two would be
among
candidates.
I'd love to see Aleister. I think that's too soon, though. I would say it's kind of too soon for either of them, because I couldn't see either of them beating Brock Lesnar.
I just don't know who else.
Yeah, it could be somebody from SmackDown.
You could do that. If you're in the Rumble, there's really the options are there.
Kofi Kingston is there, and I think a lot of people, perhaps by this point, have given up, but it's possible. It could be also, who was the last person that he faced? Ray.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't see them revisiting that. I don't see them revisiting.
Oh yeah, Ray's on Raw. What am I saying?
Ray's on Raw.
Yeah, so I would want it to be Kofi personally.
They they aired a couple of promos for the Takeover special on Sunday, and then the main event was Seth Rollins and AOP against Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and the mystery partner, The Big Show.
The wet fart. That's what I called it.
Whoa.
That's the potential rebranding. Rollins said he knows what's best for the people. Need to eliminate the people that impede progress. So
he did.
I guess
say
progress. Is it the British Wrestling Experience and the Grapple Spotlight show?
He said progress.
That's
not
that's
progress.
That's what I'm quoting here. So I didn't know if he was speaking metaphorically about impeding progress or talking about those that maybe have impeded progress. So they're really pushing this new Monday Night Messiah for Seth Rollins. That God, I could imagine them having a T-shirt that gets complaints.
What's better, that or
the Chosen One?
3, 2, 1.
I don't know. I just like saw him kept saying he's the Chosen One. I'm like, get horrible flashbacks of fucking WCW, Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo.
Isn't Drew McIntyre the Chosen One?
No, it's Seth now. Like Drew's like Mr. fucking 10 now. Like,
there are more than one Chosen One.
That's the trademarked for
he's the chosen
Mr. fucking 10.
He's the chosen 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So show is out. Last match was in November of 2018. They went through the break. Cannonball is delivered by Owens to Rollins, and then they take over and get the heat on Rollins after Razor pushes him off the turnbuckle. There's a crowd of "We Want Big Show." I did not hear that down the hallway. And then there's a hot tag made to Big Show. Big reaction as he clears the ring. Joe gets sent into the steps. Rollins is caught coming off the top, but then Show turns his attention to AOP, grabbing both by the throat. Rollins gets the chair, nails him in the back for the DQ at 10 minutes and 13 seconds. He needs his iron fingers.
Seth?
Yeah.
Okay, what's with that glove?
So he broke his fingers recently, and he's been using this glove. I actually don't mind the glove. It's weird, but there was I think that he started using it in conjunction with these fingers that he had. Like 2 of them were like taped up.
Okay, just as long as there's a reason. I just like when is he doing it a Michael Jackson homage? Okay, he's got a reason. I'm okay with the glove. I'm okay with the glove.
Owens stops a curb stomp from happening, and Big Show nails Rollins with a knockout punch. So I'm guessing we're going to get Rollins and Show on TV.
Jesus Christ.
Well, first it's the fist fight.
Yes. Next week, they are building up next week's Raw to be a big show. They had 4 match announcements, which is a lot for this company. So next week, we're going to get Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy for the 3rd time, Bobby Lashley and Rusev.
Isn't that strange? Like, Black is 2-0 in this trilogy thus far.
I guess it's just keeping him busy, and he's going to beat the guy again.
I mean, could you not have had Murphy cheat to win that second one?
I don't think they want to beat Black. I think they're...
Even cheating to win? Come on.
Orton and AJ. And then this match was made within 10 seconds of the ending of this finish. They're like, this just in. It's a rematch of the main event. It is so last minute that they still have the Mystery Man graphic there. They haven't even updated it with a Big Show JPEG. And it will be the first ever fist fight. So closed fists are legal, which I guess they've always been for Big Show because of his finish. But nonetheless, it will be the first ever fist fight in WWE history, they said.
I'm so sad I'm not going to be watching this next week.
You're not going to join us?
Or in coming weeks, any Raw. I just keep up listening to you guys.
Tell us your final thoughts about this experience as a whole.
Well, truthfully, I thought it was a decent show. Like, I thought there were a lot of good matches on there.
I thought the first half was actually a very good Raw.
Just like these segments where people have to talk, those are the worst things. Just because, like, these writers, buck stops with Vince McMahon, but this man is fucking clueless about how real humans talk. He obviously is stuck in the 1960s with, like, watching entertainment from there and think, people talk like this still, right? God damn it. No, Vince, they fucking don't. Watch some HBO, for God's sakes, okay? But was it a horrible experience? No, it wasn't a horrible experience. There's a lot of good stuff, and there's some comedy. Unintentional, obviously, but I still found it amusing. I like Drew McIntyre beating up the conga line. That brought me a lot of joy.
You went crazy for that. Like as soon as Drew like went after the conga line, he was like, WH was just like, yes, get that guy,
kill them all. And then he was like, "There's women there." I'm like, "Hey, listen, all the Outlaw Mud Show meme wrestling fucking fans out there love like intergender. Hey, there you go. You potentially could have had some intergender on WWE television, but we were denied it. I'm sorry."
I think my only complaint about this show was the fact that it was probably the length of Raw. That always feels a little bit too long. But
I had no issue with it watching it at this time of the day, and I watched this thing live, so I have no excuses. I thought it was so much easier watching this during the day. It was a show that there was definitely some like the wedding stuff. Listen, there's people that are into this stuff. That was kind of a low point of the show for me, but I would say as a whole, I thought it feels like Raw, they have been slowly building some of these acts, and there was a really dry period of Raw that we've been watching for the last couple of months, and it seems like they do have a lot of different combinations now, and you have something to build to around the Rumble, and there's some interesting directions at this point, and I really love that Rey and Andrade match.
Yeah. I thought, it certainly is interesting going from New Japan Pro Wrestling type of product over to this. They're very different shows, and I think they deserve to be watched separately in different ways with different expectations. I think if you're judging this Raw based on prior Raws, I thought this was certainly an improvement over last week. It didn't make me go crazy.
Okay, so we're going to go to the forum. A few pieces of feedback here. I put up 2 polls. So tonight's Raw gets a 5.68, while New Year's Dash gets a 7.
Oh.
There you go. Brandon from Oshawa writes, best part of New Year Dash was the LIJ Chaos tag as well as the Moxley Suzuki stuff. I really want to give a spotlight to the commentary on all 3 nights. I was a little weary of a 4-person team, but they were awesome and had great chemistry. Chris Charlton and Gino Gambino really shined for me. Raw was decent. I'm intrigued by Brock being in the Rumble, and I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for showdowns in the match. I like the show-long story of the third man, but was disappointed in Big Show. I was expecting a heel turn. With the big fist fight next week, have any of you ever been in one? And what are the rules?
I haven't been in a WWE sanctioned fist fight. I have no idea what the rules are.
It means you try to hide slapping the thigh and you beat them to a pulp.
So what? No kicks, no wrestling moves, just punching.
Yeah, you should only be allowed to do
punches. A boxing match.
Yeah,
a bare knuckle boxing match.
Yeah, this is gonna be bare knuckle. Yeah, in Kentucky, I'm sure they'll allow it.
I'm interested. Andrew from Cape Breton says, I'll be honest, Raw was on in the background while I organized my living room, but after that was done, I saw Wai record WH on Twitter and saw WH shake his head dismissively during a wedding recap. It also seems Rusev has a new gimmick. He'll spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Anyway, Raw was the usual fare tonight, but since WH is on, a few questions. What do you think would fit well in New Japan on the current roster? Who do you think would fit well on New Japan on the current WWE roster? And who from tonight would simply be a Chase Owens level jobber?
Okay, some of them WWE roster.
Well, you said Tozawa. You'd love to see him in what, the junior heavyweight division?
Junior heavyweight division. I'd love to see Cesaro in the WWE. Maybe surprising to some people, I'd love to see Roman Reigns. I think he would do really well in the strong style setting.
I think Seth Rollins would be great, actually. Like,
I think he's a good
lot of
worker.
guys
Yeah,
would be great.
especially as a heel, I think he's a much more natural character worker than like Jay White is. I think Jay White's just like kind of like stuck in being a comic book character. Like that's just my opinion of obviously.
Gable.
Oh fuck yeah, that'd be awesome. Who would be a jobber? Like, like they hire like indie guys to be the ditch diggers in New Japan. That's why they have Chase Owens, and like as much people love him, like he's just a ditch digger. Okay, he's a jobber.
But a great one.
He's very effective in his role. I'm not going to say he's not. He is, but that's his role. And like I don't think they would take away someone from the WWE just to be enhancement talent. Like they would just hire someone who's cheap and isn't going to cost a lot of money. So no one from the WWE really would be hired by New Japan to be a jobber.
Nas from New York City. Why did the referee stop Andrade from hitting his finisher at first? That ending was so confusing, ruined so much of the good stuff before it. Love the idea of Brock in the Rumble. I'm salivating at the idea of Brock going face-to-face with Matt Riddle. For someone who didn't watch Wrestle Kingdom, Raw was pretty good tonight. However, the third member being Big Show annoyed me.
We'll go to Tyler from Orlando, who says, I haven't seen New Year Dash yet, so only Raw review with me tonight. What was up with security tackling the guy in the ring? Yeah.
Well, we went over that. I'm glad you caught all that.
Was it... Okay, yes. He says, I'm guessing Drew officially turned babyface tonight. I guess he needed something different, but I still don't think they will truly run with him. And what the hell is this fist fight thing going to be?
I mean, it's really like, they don't want to say street fight. It's just, it's a 6-man.
Why don't they want to say street fight?
They want to come up with something different.
Why, though?
They just want to have something different, I guess.
Why call it a wrestling match? Why not make a new word for it?
I mean, you have a curiosity now on what this is going to be, I guess.
I hope everyone wears a single black glove on their fist. And that's just the fit. And you can only use that to...
Yeah, coal miner's glove, maybe?
Oh, yeah. No, Seth Miner's glove.
Brian from New York. I opened up the day hoping for an Ibushi or Sonata heel turn and ended the day praying for not another Big Show one. On New Year's Dash, I was impressed how quickly Bullet Club became so strong at the top of their group. Between Jay White and Kenta, they have two of the strongest pure heels in the company to throw at Naito. WWE has had trouble capitalizing on the momentum of big crowning moments at WrestleMania recently, citing Bryan at 30 and Becky Lynch last year, with suitably exciting programs. Geto has effectively created two options that can get him through the winter until the New Japan Cup. I also loved how quickly they've given me more interest in Goto than I've ever had between the heated match with Kenta and the great one with Shingo today, and Evil and Ishii in the tag. I'm very excited to see any combination of the four, including more tag matches, and perhaps one of the two teams actually entering the tag division. More interesting openweight division can only help in a company that has so many burgeoning single stars and needs something to do. And thanks us for all the content. Yes, so there you go. Thank you very much, Brian.
Nick from Lansing says, I have a feeling I'm going to be in the minority, but for what it was, I enjoyed Raw tonight. The first hour was a lot of fun. Rey and Andrade delivered, even with the screwy finish, and that tag title match was exciting. Glad the in-ring skills of the Street Profits are being showcased. It's a better use of them than overwritten backstage segments. They connect with the live crowd so well that it'd be a waste to keep them backstage. I can understand some people not thinking the Big Show was a worthy enough surprise to build up so long, but I like seeing him fighting alongside Samoa Joe, Owens, and a delightful jumping behind him, taunting AOP. Highlights of Dash were the ceremony for Liger and the continuation of Suzuki and Moxley. When Liger stood in the middle of the ring, you could feel the respect every single person in the building had for that man. It was heartwarming. And on the opposite end, my God, will it be satisfying to watch those two scary motherfuckers tear each other apart.
Question here for WH. Did you see the guy in the front row dressed as, I believe, Jesse Ventura or possibly Macho Man? What do you think of people dressing up as characters, and have you seen any that have blown you away at a live event?
I have no problem if fans want to do cosplaying.
There were some really good ones at Wrestle Kingdom.
You know who the best was?
The Shockmaster with the wall.
The Shockmaster with the wall. That was really
great.
There
was a wall?
He had a cardboard wall that his arm went through, so it was like he was falling out of it.
But there was like the guy with the Tanahashi hair hanging out with Shinsuke.
Yeah, the Tanahashi and Nakamura, that was a good one I took a photo of.
Facially, no, this man's quite ugly, but good Lord, his hair was beautiful, just like Tanahashi's.
We go to Cam, who says, I went to Raw tonight, so this may be long. Sorry, but my wife's sister bought us 3 adult tickets for Christmas. Myself, my wife, who's barely a fan, and my toddler. She loves chaos. Well, not the group, just chaos.
In general.
From a parent's view, and yes, we use the earphones for her. She was alert. So he's speaking of his toddler. She was alert for Brock. Or is he talking about his wife? I'm not sure. Okay, so anyway, she was alert for Brock. She was attentive for Ray versus Almas. She legit started falling asleep during the ever-long rest hold during the three-way, going in and out all the way until the Rusev angle. And she was interested in the possibly mistaken security guard incident with the pastor. And she loved the wedding angle. And then she went back to almost sleep for the rest of the show. We left at the announcement of the big show. My only complaint is that I was facing a clock on the hard cam wall, which was in Eastern time. So not only did I see the wrong time, but the time weighed on me. As well, my wife, barely a fan, was mad the more interesting matches would be next week and not this week. It's also hard having a job, a kid, and sitting through basically 2 movies live. An 8 out of 10 show, it was a great live experience, but probably 5 out of 10 if I were at home, as I did in and out.
Bruce writes in from Vancouver, it was interesting to see how despite some high-profile losses at Wrestle Kingdom, Bullet Club felt like a freshly reinvigorated entity on New Year's Dash. The series heat KENTA has is palpable, and I'm keen to see how it all plays out, even if Shibata is not involved. Also, while I don't tune into New Year's Dash shows specifically for top-tier matches, boy howdy, that Chaos LIJ tag was great. Boy howdy. There you go.
That's just to make you say that. Very nice. Well, let's end things off here with Laura from Vancouver, but currently in the Totocon shop here in Tokyo. Dash was...
Which has free Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Dash was an incredible night live with a lot of surprising high work rate for what is supposed to be an angle-focused show. Had incredible seats for Liger's retirement, which was the thrill of my life. After realizing that my negative reaction to KENTA ruining Naito's celebration 2 nights in a row is entirely because I was selfishly wanting to see the full LIJ roll call live in person, I cannot deny that it's an incredibly effective build for KENTA and Naito. I want to see this match and see Naito win now more than ever. Plus, the match is likely in Osaka, so Naito and LIJ doing their full celebration there is perfect. Finally, I want to touch on one potentially lost detail on Naito's path to the IWGP title. Just how perfect it was that the IC belt, the one belt that he used to abuse, threw around and threatened to destroy, ended up being his ticket to finally beating Okada at the Dome in the main event for the IWGP belt. It wasn't winning the G1, it wasn't winning the briefcase, it was winning the IC title that finally allowed him to reach his destino. Gato really played off everything that's happened in the past 6 years and tied it all in. The IC belt, the fan vote, the Stardust Press, all of it. It all came together to allow Naito to finally have his moment. It is truly the greatest long-term story in wrestling history.
Well, there we go. Thank you for the feedback from Laura and all of our people sending in their comments on New Year Dash and from Raw on Monday night. So that is going to bring an end to this show. WH, you are off the hook. You do not have to watch Raw again, but thank you for being a trooper and joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun to watch it with Wai and then talk about it with the two of you. And yeah, I've been enjoying you guys being here in Japan. We still got some time left. Not so much wrestling, really. Just enjoy.
What's the plan today?
The plan today, we're gonna meet with Jojo Remy, his wife Christine, and we're gonna eat some tonkatsu. Hopefully we can try to get to the place where they have this giant Baba Memorial exhibit. Like, we'll see. Right after this, I think.
Oh, and it ends today, right?
Yeah, so hopefully we can get there in time.
Yes,
we'll have time. Yeah, I'm sure you will.
We'll try and squeeze that in. That's the plan. We went to Totocon again on Monday, and that was a fun time.
Yeah.
Got to check out a lot of great stuff there. You and I may be back later this week with a show. We're hoping to have one. I'm going to have something out this weekend, whether it's just me reviewing SmackDown or something with you and whoever.
A guest, maybe.
Maybe we'll have a guest.
Yeah.
But Wai, we're going to say farewell to you because you are going to be going off now on your own kind of a mini vacation. So I hope you have a great time and can just detach from everything wrestling related. And I look forward to chatting with you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I want to thank you WHU for the hospitality, for everything, not just with us, but for an entire group of friends. It's been a lot of fun, like hanging out with you guys in Tokyo. Like I feel like I was here with my own, little like crew that I've just of people that I've just known through podcasting. It's been great meeting meeting new people like Damon from the Super J-Cast, who I hadn't met before. Got to see some old friends here like Fraser. Got to meet some listeners, I guess, for the first time in a long time as well. So I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fun we've been rolling like 9 deep in this crew.
I know. Martin
for
Bushby,
most
Lisa,
of these
Robert,
days.
Caitlin. Yeah.
Martin Bushby.
Yeah.
His lovely wife, Rob Conway. Not that Rob Conway.
No, his wife. He's not married to Rob Conway.
No. I said his lovely wife,
Lisa.
And we have Rob.
Her father, Rob Conway.
Yes, that was a longer story. But yes, thanks to everyone that we've also got to meet. Got to meet quite a number of listeners throughout all of these shows as well. So thank you to all of those that came up. And one listener, too, who said like they were too shy to come up and say hi. Thank you very much. And next time, do say hi. I hope I'm not intimidating. That's not my intent. I'm the weird one, not anyone else. But that's it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We have a lot of great shows coming up, starting with the Worst Of show that will be up for all patrons on Tuesday. If you're not a patron, it'll be up Thursday on the site for everybody. And you can also watch the video version at youtube.com/postwrestling with Wai's impeccable graphics work.
Oh, well, thank you.
Not too red. Looks, I think all of us, we tried to have some nice gear. I've got a maroon shirt on.
Hey, big shout out to Andrew Thompson. PostWrestling.com, holding down the fort while John's been away.
Andrew Thompson, who has just been carrying the site on his shoulders in my absence. He has been a lifesaver. He has made this trip so much easier. So big thank you to Andrew.
Doing great work, as always. PostWrestling.com, everybody. Check it out.
All right. That is it for us. Thanks to all of you for listening, and we will speak with you later this week.